celebrate today's climactic conditions, the code word, all lowercase, is muggy. M-U-G-G-Y. Muggy, which is what it is outside. Yes? Okay. Again, with reserving my right, first refusal, what hypotheticals did you want to go over?
We have satisfactorily moved on to analytical. Everybody's done asking questions about topic, I guess.
Well, we really need to get to the analytical at this point.
Mine's just kind of a quick question, I guess.
Well, when you say kind of a quick question,
It's just, I wanted to know, because I watched this through the videos on page, I know you need the test numbers.
yes.
Exam 66. Section 3, questions 12 through 18. One second. No, I was just gonna ask about something when
Okay.
May I preface this discussion by making a request?
I'm sorry?
May I preface this by making a request?
Preface what?
The analytical question.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Can we solve it completely rather than just doing a couple of them,
Depends.
please? I mean, I understand this is, we've substituted that one, we don't need it to necessarily, but the others would be very helpful.
Okay. Some reason my exam 66 is missing, that's all right. Okay, again, my concern is that, this is a very challenging hypothetical. I can do it.
My question was just about,
I can't.
oh no, I know, you don't have to answer it,
Yep.
I just want to tell you, it's about the different, you know how we make different examples? Like it's either 3 or 2. My question was with one of those, so
Okay, let's have at it.
I just wanted to know why.
No, we're gonna do it.
Oh, we're gonna do it?
Yeah. And just remember, if you're having adult beverages, I understand why.
This one was really hard.
Yes, Martha, and that's saying that some of the stuff you build up to, and if you're not, I don't mean, but you may have to, it's really a growth process. But I'll show you what's involved. But I would be telling you on this test, the first hypothetical is quite straightforward. The second hypothetical is challenging, but not impossible by any stretch. The fourth hypothetical is quite straightforward. And you're bringing me here, and that's fine, so long as you can look at the first, the second, and particularly the first and the fourth hypotheticals, and get them all right, and have no problem. Then go to the second hypothetical, which is more challenging, but absolutely doable. Then, and only then, is this what we should be working on. Because this is, you're talking about Aristotle. You know, I mean, you don't have to start off by reading Aristotle. You can work your way up to Aristotle.
Should we save this maybe for the end of class if we have time?
No, we'll do it now. We'll do it now.
So
No.
typically, the first hypothetical and the last hypothetical are ones we should tackle first.
There's no doubt about it.
No
Yeah.
doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
I
That,
thought I was just getting lucky once.
you what?
I thought I was just getting lucky when I was like, whoa, this is easier than the last one. So it's a pattern, okay.
It's, again, there's so nothing fancy about this. It's organize, manage, and solve, right? And you say, huh? You know, like you look at this, wait. I start off with, you know, in terms of the constraints, right? The first two constraints are formed in either or. This is ugly in the extreme, right? Now, we'll do it, but yeah, you know, really, in terms of teaching stuff, if you have command of the first hypothetical in this exam, command of the fourth hypothetical is this, right, and can learn the second one, you're so fine. You're just so fine. But if you did this and didn't get to the fourth hypothetical, because, well, this is the third hypothetical, and you do things in order, then you're just screwed, for the most part. But here we go. Let's all get screwed together. All right, 70. What do you got? Let's have at it.
Okay, a software company employs exactly 7 sales representatives, K, M, P, Q, S, T, and U, to work in 3 sales zones, Zone 1, 2, and 3. Each sales representative works in exactly one of the sales zones in accordance with the following conditions.
Okay, so that's all I have right now. I might want to change, it depends how you visualize. Like, it might be better for you to do zones 1, 2, and 3. I don't know whether I want to do them left to right or up and down.
Excuse me, what page and next slide?
172.
Yes, this is on page 172 in body 5. It's attribution, right? It's not that this is the first zone, and that is the second zone, and that is the third zone, and there's any kind of order to it. It's just zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. So in terms of the organization of it, it's attribution. Okay. But now you look and you say, like, what's the first constraint?
Either P or T, but not both, work in Zone 1.
Okay, next.
Either T or U, but not both, work in Zone 2.
And in terms of my representation, you know, the little squiggly thing means not. So you don't have to use a little squiggly thing. You can write not. You can do whatever you want. And all that means is one of them's got to be there, but they both can't be there in each of those two. Okay, so that's T or U.
Next one is P and Q, work in the same sales zone as each other.
They're in the same zone. Okay.
S and U work in the same sales zone as each other.
Okay.
Last one, there are more of the sales representatives working in Zone 3 than in Zone 2.
Well, I'm doing that as greater than. There are more, it's just making it visual, right? There are more in 3 than there are in 2. And that's it.
Yep.
So they told us nothing about K, right? So we box K then, right? Because there's no restriction on there. And now we're looking for yeah, you want to try to bifurcate and trifurcate. You want to find from these constraints, right? And, a couple of things jump out at me. You can do SU at zone 1, zone 2, or zone 3, yes? Again, there's no right or wrong way. So this is not about you have to guess my way. You don't have to guess my way. But if I were to do SU, then I would be looking for more information, right? So you just got to slow down. You say, I have to organize, right? So if I do the SU, well, then I'm going to find out something about this, right? Because if I do the SU, I'm going to have to put SU in zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3, right? So when I put it in zone 2, I know that T is going to be kicked out of zone 2. So do you see how it builds a little bit? Not a ton. Then I look at, well, I can do this with PQ, right? Can't we put PQ in zone 1, alternatively in zone 2, alternatively in zone 3? Yeah, okay. So now I'm looking for what juice do I get out of that? Well, here I got 2 on a piece, right? So if I do that, then I'm going to get information about zone 1, right? In other words, when I put P and Q together in the hypothetical of zone 1, T's got to get kicked out. Yes? So that looks pretty much the same. But how about here? Do you see in these 2 constraints that, and again, you got to get creative. Do you get that T appears in each of the 2 constraints? Yeah. P only appears in 1, and U only appears in 1, but T appears in 2, right? I'm thinking T's playing a powerful role here. In other words, you're trying to think how to organize this, right? If we put T in 1, we're going to throw P out, right? And when we throw P out, we're going to get information about Q. You guys see it? When we put T in 2, that'll be the second hypothetical, we're going to throw U out, yeah? And then we'll get information about S. And if we put T in zone 3, then didn't we just put P in zone 1 and U in zone 2? You see it? So it's developing your ability to see this stuff, and it's not going to happen overnight. You would be okay trifurcating on SU. And this is what you want to do at home. Like, go home, right? And say, well, what would have happened if I had organized on SU, right? And do it, see what happens. What would have happened if I'd organized on PQ? I'm thinking, and again, it's just me, the commonality of T is where I'm going. So my first hypothetical is T is here. My second hypothetical is T is here. Let me just put, because T could be there with other people, so let me just. And my third hypothetical is T's there, and T's not gone. Yes?
That's what my question was, because I was doing it, I only made it with 2, not 3. I didn't try on T.
Well, what do I say? It may be that, look,
No, I
Steph,
know, but I wish I could see it that way, just because it would probably be easier to answer the questions.
yes, but I've been doing this
I
for
know.
20 years, and that's not the standard. The expectation in analytical, I imagine the median score is going to be about an 11. So that's who you're competing with, right? The point at which you go above an 11, you're outperforming.
Why would you put T in zone 3 when the limitations don't mention T in zone 3? It says T in zone 1 or T in zone 2.
Is there any prohibition against T being in 3?
No.
Neither P and T can't be together in Z1.
So that P and T could be together in zone 3.
I have no guidance, this is on 3. But I'll find out when I, again, the beauty of organization, right, is it makes it visual. So like you say, they could be together or they couldn't be together, and so I don't have a clue. Because that's up here, right? I don't need to be up here, I want to be here. I want to take these 2 little pupils and put them to work. So, but conceptually, that's where I'm starting with. Theoretically, T could be in 3, and once I put T in 3, I absolutely know where P and U go. So watch. If I would probably start at the bottom, because that's where I have the most concrete information. If T is in zone 3, then everybody agree P's got to be in zone 1.
Yep.
Yes. And does everybody agree that U's got to be in zone 2?
Yep.
And does everybody agree that S has got to be with U?
Yeah.
And we have, does everybody agree that Q's got to be with P?
Yes.
And you see how we have underlined for 5 of them? We're done. So now you say, what's left to manage down here?
K and M.
K and M. And, well, and zone 3's got to have more than zone 2.
So chances are they're in zone 3.
Well, when you say chances are, other than being a great Johnny Mathis song from 100 years ago.
Okay, and they were in 3.
What if they're not in zone 3? What if either K or M is absent from zone 3? Then what?
Then one of the other letters has to be in zone 3 because zone 3 needs to be
Right.
divided into.
But in the third hypothetical, there are no more letters. The only 2 that are not accounted for are K and M, and they have to be in zone 3 on the bottom hypothetical. Yes? We saying yes to the LSAT?
No.
Hey! Who's acting out? Now you got a car. So everybody see. But this is what the designer has in mind, right? But what they're looking for is that ability to see this, which means you have to slow down when you organize. It's conceptual. There's no trick, there's no shortcut. This is civil procedure. So, that's done. Okay, so I'll work my way up. So, if T is in zone 2, right, the second hypothetical, the middle one, if T is in zone 2, does everybody agree that P is in zone 1?
Yep.
And you see, it's just these 5 characters that we're trying to control. The 5 that have limits on them, we don't care about the other 2. Okay, so P is here. I don't know, I'm just kind of going with the Q's going to be there with P.
Yeah, because they're together.
And now my eye is on, so what do I know here about S and U? Those are the 2 left, right? Okay, and you just got to stop for a second. Wouldn't it be fair to say that all you have left are S and U, and they have to be together, and K and M, they could be anywhere, right? And zone 3 has to have greater number than zone 2, right? So with respect to S and U, do you agree they can't be here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could they be there?
Yes.
Yeah. Could they be there?
Yes.
And that's it. So what you do here, right, is you say, okay, S and U. See, that's how you'll know when I've gone to work for the LSAC. Because I will not be putting S and U together. I will be putting F and U together. And then you have left to manage the K and the M. So you put them over here, right? Because K and the M, I don't know where they'll go, but depends on where the S and the U go. Right. Somebody's got to be in zone 3. You got to get at least 2 in zone 3, right? So you could have S and U in zone 3. You could have SUK, SUN, you could have all 4 of them there, you could have 3 of them there, but you just have to keep in mind that if you throw S and U over here, then both K and M have to be here because you have to have more in zone 3 than in zone 2. Yes? Think about trying to do this in 8 minutes.
It's impossible.
And think about the likelihood that your organization would have been on like SU, which is clear, right? Or PQ, which is clear, but likely not as effective. It's a hell of a test. As I mentioned, it's a hard test.
Yes.
It's really a rip kiddo. Well, again, you want to be lawyers, and it's, okay.
You said 11 is a reasonable score for getting one?
I'm saying, my sense of it is that the median score is 11. Yeah. That is not the case in here.
That's what?
It is not the case in here. That a representative score, well, if you're ready, yeah, no, the median score in here is going to be about a 4. Just don't see if you were awake.
Wow.
14, I would say. 14 is about where we end up, but all right, so now I come up to the top hypothetical, and does everybody agree that if T is in zone 1, then U's got to be in zone 2? Okay. All right. And if U's in zone 2, S is in zone 2. And now you got P and Q are in the relationship in the top hypothetical that S and U were in the bottom hypothetical. You got P and Q left, right? Does everybody see you can't put P and Q in here? Right? So P and Q going there or there. And you have K and M to distribute. That's it. That's the organization. Does that make sense?
Well, P can't go into zone 1.
Because you're interfering.
So you meant to put that over zone 2 and 3, correct?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. Yeah, no, here, that's wrong, right here, right, no, the P and Q,
But it can't go on.
they can't go in zone, they have to go in 3. Yep, that's right. Good catch.
Yeah.
Right, because the T is here, so the P is excluded. So the P and Q, if they go there, you can't go there. Right. So either the K or the M is going to have to be in zone 3.
So for
Go
the
ahead.
second one, SU can't really go in zone 1 either because then zone 3 wouldn't have more.
No, SU can go in zone 1 because it's zone 3 has to have more than zone 2,
Oh.
right? It's got nothing to do with zone 1. But right in this top hypothetical, because P was excluded there, they have to go there. And does everybody see either K or M or both are going to have to be there? Right. And you can't put either K or M in zone 2.
Yep.
So that's it.
What's the number 15?
I don't know. Oh.
What's the question?
It's number 15.
On this side, that's it.
Did you say I can do number 17?
No, 115.
Why?
I was working on 15.
Well, why did I say this wrong? I can do number 17 faster than you can
Submitted.
flip me the bird.
Is that in a year or something?
Actually, that was.
So which one did you want to do?
15,
I figured out why. survive. If I got it wrong. Language. Could between us.
Which one of the following could be a complete and accurate list of sales reps working in zone 3? Let's change colors here.
Okay.
Okay, so what does A say? A says, could K and M be a complete and accurate list? Right, in zone 3, the answer is yes. Right, it would take you to the second hypothetical. You put K and M here. You would take the S and the U, you drop them over in zone 1, and that, the answer is A.
Wait, sorry. K and M at zone 3, the SU, where do you put it?
Well, look up here. Not that you were any help with the code word today. So to say, can K and M just be complete and accurate, meaning by themselves, right? So for that to happen, you got to go to the middle hypothetical, right? And say, okay, let me take these two guys and put them there. And I have S and U left, right? But S and U can both be over here in zone 1. So you put S and U in zone 1, we have T in zone 2, and K and M in zone 3. That's fine.
I got this one wrong, but I know why. I put C, but C is something that must happen.
Let me take a look.
I put P and Q, but that's the difference in language. Because they're asking for what could be true.
Well, let's take a look. I don't know. Let me take a look. So can P and Q be alone in zone 3?
No, pretty more than 2.
It has to have one more to be more than SU
No,
and
yes,
two.
that's exactly what.
No.
That's number one.
It's a
Well,
language.
you see it, right?
Yeah, it's a language thing.
And the power of analytical, right, is you would never be at choice C if you understood that choice A was the answer, because there is no ambiguity in analytical about pulling the trigger. No ambiguity. You know, it's like pull that trigger. So that's, you know, it's a huge benefit to know that not a single one of the 23 questions, right, requires you to keep looking past what you have found to be the answer. And that gives you that time to reflect and deliberate and organize in a meaningful way. And if you don't take that time, again, what's going on in analytical is this is the law. It's all IRAC, right? Here what they're doing is say, like in reading comp, they give you the passage to read, right? That's the law. And logical, they give you the argument to read. That's the law. But in analytical, you have to create the law. The law is the derivative of the primary evidence. That's how cool is that? Well, it's just me. But it's like solving a case. This is much more like solving a case than the other stuff. Is you have explicit or primary evidence. The explicit evidence gives birth to derivative evidence. This is all derivative evidence. And now I have the law, and since I created the law, I own the law. So applying, you know what I'm saying? I'm the writer, you get me? I'm not the writer in logical reasoning. I don't write the law, somebody else does. I'm not the writer in reading comprehension. Some egghead is writing that. I'm not the writer. Do you get I'm the writer of this law? So applying the issues to it, it's like, get out of here, I wrote this. So, was we okay? Did we do okay? Did you want to go all of them, Martha, or is this okay? You gotta yell at me, Jesus.
Yes, I want all the questions.
You wanna,
Answer all the questions.
somebody help me out?
Answer all the questions.
Answer all the questions? Okay. when you're answering question number 1, I want to know which of the following could be an accurate matching of the sales reps to the sales zone, and that's the orientation question. So all you do is you look at the constraints, and one at a time you apply the constraints. So like the first constraint is you have to have P or T, but not both in zone 1. So you just look. So like, A's fine, right, because it's got P.
But it doesn't have Q.
I'm sorry?
But it doesn't have Q.
Oh, I'm going to get to that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, because then it's going to violate it when I get down there. All right. And then you would say, okay, so actually here, right, you know what, it's going to be easier just to look at that. Normally, the way you would handle this is just do process of elimination, go one at a time. But you know what, this is so visual that, that if I look at A here, it says, can you have K and P alone in zone 1? The answer is no, right, because it's just not fair. You look at B, and it says, can you have K and T in zone 1? Yeah, you can, right? Top hypothetical, right? But then you'd have to put this in. It's a little bit funky, this one. So then you say, okay, so I could have this, but now I have to have all that other stuff. So if I put the K there, right, can I then have S and U in zone 2? Well, I have them in zone 2, right? Can I then have M, P, and Q in zone 3? And sure, the M would just come down here, and B's the answer. If I look at question number 13. If there are more sales reps in zone 1 than zone 3, what could be true? Well, we're not here. Right? You can't be down here, so they're saying don't work in that hypothetical. To make that happen, if you had more in zone 1 than in zone 3, you need both K and M there, right? And here, if you had more in 1 than in 3, you would either need the S and the U or the K and the M. Yes? So which of the following could be true? So could it be true that K works in zone 2? And you're just looking at these two hypotheticals? No, that can't be true. You guys see it? Because if K worked here, the K is working here, and if you put K, you can't do it. Could you have, since it's 13, I'm sorry, because I don't have this book marked, so.
13, yeah.
Could M be in zone 2?
No.
No. Could, well, let me erase this. Oh, that was this. Wait a minute. Could P be in zone 3? Am I on number 13? This is tough because I don't have the book marked.
Yes, you're 13.
This is 13? Okay. So if there are more in 1 than in 3, so that's what I'm trying to remember here. Okay, so more 1 than 3, could you have P in zone 3? Could you have K then here?
Yeah.
The rule,
But there's no-
2 must have, I mean,
there's no
3 must have
violate-
more than 2, correct?
Yeah, it'll violate the last rule.
I'm sorry?
No, it will violate the last rule where D3 has to be greater than a.
Right. No, I'm saying, but if you put K and then here, right, that's fine.
Then you have an equal.
Right, these are now equal. Right. Can you put T in zone 1?
Yes.
Well, if you put, again, you put T in zone 1, you're here, right?
Then it won't.
And that's not gonna work, because in order to get, you need both K and M there.
Yeah.
Well, if you have both K and M here, you violate this.
Mhm.
So the answer is gonna be E.
You wasn't.
And E is, can you be in zone 3? Yeah, yeah,
You're taking that for the second.
yeah. Yeah, you put the, you put the SU there, but you take the K and the M and bring it over there.
Are you still have more in 3 than 2? Because T
Correct.
only has 1.
Correct.
So that one fits.
Correct. Yep. 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 $14, they want to know what must be false. A says, K and S both work in zone 1. Well,
That's false.
you know, can you put,
This S has to be reduced, so it can't be with K.
well, I'm just going, you can't do it here, right? Because if you put, you'd end up with K, S, and U, and then you'd only have one letter over here, right? If you put K, well, you can't, they went K and S, so they will. But S is over there, you can't, so that's the answer. That can't happen. Just one more time, they say, which of the following must be false? If you try to put both K and S in zone 1, you can't do it here because S is over there. You can't do it here because S is over there, right? So if you tried to force K and S into zone 1, you're here.
And then you got to drag it.
The problem is, right, is you've taken this K away, so only the M is going to be in zone 3, and now you violate the restriction that zone 3 has more focus in it than zone 2. How do you do this in 8 minutes?
There's no way.
Do you get that, again, setting, when people are admitted into a school like Yale, you get they are doing this in that time, right? There's just an exceptional form of this intelligence. It's very, very rare. They have to test for it because that's how a school like Yale or Harvard, it's how they maintain their exclusivity. They're requiring people in those schools, for the most part, to break 170. That's how you break 170, is by being able to do this in 8 minutes. That's why not a lot of people. The top 10 percentile in this test are people who score 80 out of 100. You with me? Right, like in your life, that's the top, let me see, 20th percentile, right? On this test, if you get an 80, you're in the top 10 percentile of the country. That's hard.
What else does that suggest? In other words, one is admitted into Harvard or Yale. Does that suggest the likelihood of those graduates becoming very, very successful attorneys versus students at lower tiered schools?
No, it doesn't say, it all depends what the word successful means. Clearly, if you're graduating from an Ivy, you're going to be more employable than if you're graduating from a non-Ivy. That all things being equal, the employer actually knows that you can do this kind of stuff. Now, they're not really inferring from the LSAT, they're inferring from the fact that you graduated from Yale. But yeah, because you're a freak. I mean, you're a really bright freak, you know, but you're a freak. All right.
So essentially,
But that doesn't translate into, are you going to be a good lawyer? It translates into you're a very, very, very bright puppy. And you may be a good lawyer, but you're a very bright puppy. That, being a very bright puppy is one of many variables that goes into, you have your own practice. You develop your own practice. Yeah, Matthew?
When they create a question like 17 and that was eliminated, they're creating that for a Yale or a Harvard person, basically, you're saying.
What question?
Like 17, they removed because I guess it was inconsistent.
No, 17 was removed because it was imprecise. 17 was removed because upon deliberation, they either upon petition, somebody petitioned, and upon review of that petition, they either came to the conclusion that no answer choice should have been credited, or alternatively that 2 or more answer choices should have been. But whatever time you spent on 17, Hello? That's what I'm saying, you gotta have some kind of internal clock, right? Which says, I'll never exceed a certain point, right? And then just get out. So, like if you practice with those 90-second increments, right? And you have something like that, where you're saying to yourself, I just don't have the luxury of being on any question for a period of time. It doesn't have to be 90 seconds, it can be a minute, 20 seconds, it can be whatever you want. But you've got to have, because you may be looking at something that's not going to be scored. It's not likely, but I'd say certainly one out of every 10 exams has an item removed.
There's also the experiment section or whatever, so there's a big chance that it's not gonna be scored.
Yeah, so, but on the experimental, if you mess up, it's not going to count against you, right? Whereas on this test, where they're actually removing an item from a scored section, think about what's going on in that exam room, because you're looking at it. I'm kind of thinking when they took this exam, they got to 17, it didn't say, item about to be removed, you know? And so somebody started to do analysis on 17, but there was no answer to 17. Or there were two answers to 17. I mean, this is like,
Yeah. Wait, so did everyone get a point for it, or it
just exclude it, becomes a 99 question test.
And then time wasted.
Well, if you wasted time, if you looked at it and said,
There's something here.
then, you know, everybody took the same test. Everybody looked at the same removed question. Some people exercise more informed judgment than others. You can graduate from Yale and not have informed judgment. You can graduate from Toro and have informed judgment. So that was what? That was 14, we did 15. 16, Quinn cannot work in the same sales zone as which of the following? Okay. So we know where Quinn is, right? You got to figure out who can't be with him. Everybody see, we know in each of the three hypotheticals where Quinn is.
Yes.
All right, and now you say, so I don't know. So can K be with him?
Yeah.
Why not? Right. Can M be with him? Stupid. You know, I mean, if K can be with him, M can be with him. And I'm stupid. Can S be with him?
Yep.
Yeah, right here. Right? Just take one hypothetical in there, you know, that's fine. Right? Put S and U there, you're still fine in the other one. Can we talk about here, T, can T be with Q?
No. No.
Well, it's looking kind of hard to me.
Because you
You
drag
guys
P
see it?
into it.
I'm sorry?
Because you drag P into it and then you violate one of the rules.
You don't even have to do that. They want, let me get this straight. They want to know whether T and Q can be together, right? So all you need to do here is, here's T, here's Q. Oh, let's do this one. Here's T, here's Q. Here's T, here's Q. So it's not even analysis, it's just looking at it and saying, no, they can't be together. Yes? Isn't this fun? It's almost time to, well, unless you're here for legal writing. It's just hot outside, it's miserable. Let's go outside.
Muggy.
Let's make that the code word.
That's the key word, yeah.
All right, question number 18. If K and S work in the same sales zone, which one, I'm sorry, if M and S work in the same sales zone, which one of the following could be true? So they want M and S. Okay. Okay. You're not going there, right? Okay. So if we put M and S together, we could do that here, right? Right? So if they wanted to conform to that, you'd say, okay, let's put the S here, the U here, and the M there. Okay. And you can't do it down here because they're separate, right? So what they did is they directed you to the middle hypothetical. And they said, what could be true? Do you see how K is left hanging? Because everything else must be true. So let's see what they did, but I imagine it involves the K. Choice A, K works in zone 2. bada bing, bada boom, that's the answer, you're done, right? Yes? Well, thanks for bringing that one up.
I only wanted you to do that. You didn't have to do the questions for me.
Dude, you can't, analytical, you gotta, so again, if you want to grow from this as opposed to expect that I'm gonna take the test for you, if you really want to grow from it, this is what you do, right? You go back and you try to see, it's all about seeing derivatives. It's all about seeing derivatives. Some derivatives are harder or more nuanced. And I think I think it's harder to see there that you organize on the T. I think it's much easier to see you would organize on the SU or you would organize on the PQ, right? But you've got to just deliberate during that period of organization. It's critical because they're requiring you to create the law. And if the law you create is half-assed, you're toast.
I'm not asking to solve this, but maybe you can make a note of it. I believe that in the analytical library that we're missing a video for test 67, section 318 through 23.
And if you send me an email
Okay,
or text, anything, right?
sure.
That actually is on video?
It is, okay.
No, it's on video, but it hasn't made it to the website.
Oh, I see.
It was the last one I was doing, and I completed
Sure,
that.
I want to do it, but.
I completed that either last week or the week before last. It's all a blur to me. I haven't.
Okay.
I surely wouldn't want to deny to anybody the fruits of that particular